Hey, what's up, everybody? Brett Mix here, Mixer Madness. We're going to do a SmackDown review from tonight's March 8th, 2024 episode from the sold-out American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. The Rock was on it tonight, and it was something unique, something pretty special. It did what a closing segment should do. It kept you wanting more. It kept you wanting to see what happens next. And they didn't even have to talk much, but you felt the electricity in the building, and we'll get to that in the closing segment. This is going to be a SmackDown review for the next 20-25 minutes. Grab a drink, get comfortable. Whether you watched the show or didn't watch the show, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go over everything that happened with some sprinkled analysis on the side, like always. Hit like and subscribe if you're new to my channel, and if you're not new, welcome. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. And let's get this kicked off. All right, Corey Graves and Bad News Barrett are the broadcasters. We open this SmackDown with the first shot, seeing Roman Reigns appearing after The Rock appeared in his truck. Rock puts a cowboy hat on. We are in Dallas, after all. And walks down the aisles, the concourse of the building, the bowels of the American Airlines arena, so to speak. And all of a sudden, we see COdy and Seth arrive with tons of security, too. And they're all arriving for tonight, The Answer. That's what they're promoting it as, the segment The Rock will be in, The Answer. We kick off things with the United States Champion Logan Paul making his way to the ring. The Maverick is in the home of the Dallas Mavericks. Paul then says, "Dallas, you are my city of firsts. My first Mania match," and then he goes on to list everything he's done, his boxing matches, his apparent 5-star wrestling matches. He says the WWE's in its prime. It has a surprise for everyone as the drink Prime is on the mat. He then says Prime will be on the ring at all future PLEs. Great. Then he introduces another leader of the Prime, co-founder, KSI, from England. A USA chant starts. And he says, "Let's get a photo. This is greatness in front of you," pretty much. And he says, "Get a picture of this, everybody." And he says, "Maybe I'll tag you, maybe not." Then they pose for a picture, and Orton's "I Hear Voices" hits right when that happens, but nobody comes out. It takes a few moments, and Orton, in his ring gear, comes and sneaks up, and he comes from behind, and he tries to hit an RKO on Logan Paul, but he just barely escapes. And then that left KSI in the ring, and as he turned around, he got hit with the RKO. Then Orton, a Prime RKO, and then Orton, see what I did there? And then Orton opened up the drink Prime, drank it a little bit, and said, "This is actually pretty good," which was pretty funny. And then he poured it on in the middle, right over the Prime logo, onto KSI. So opening segment was average. It didn't do anything but promote the Prime drink, really. It was a good moment seeing an RKO and Orton sneak up from behind after Logan Paul garnered some heel heat, furthering their feud and his character. It just led to an opening match, which is what you want an opening segment to do. It crossed off all the boxes where it either leads to an opening match or it leads to a main event match. That's what you want from your opening segment to a Raw or a SmackDown, right? And that's all you can really ask. It just didn't go about it in the most entertaining fashion. It wasn't a Rock segment, for instance. But at least we got something that led to something, and it led to a match, and it also continued heel work for Logan Paul, as I said, and it develops the feud a little bit further between Orton and Paul. So we open the show in the ring with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton versus Grayson Waller and Austin Theory as the first match. Orton's already in the ring from the opening segment. The WWE has hit 100 million subscribers before we get to the opening match. I remember seeing the channel when it was at 99.9 million subscribers, and I was thinking that's an interesting number to be at. I only need 999,689 more subscribers to match that. So here's hoping, right? Orton's got Waller cornered and drops Theory off the apron, and the audacious Aussie, as Barrett calls him, lets Grayson Waller momentarily gain the advantage, which doesn't last long as that amounts to Owens tagging in, and he dropkick Theory. Grayson Waller drops Owens outside on the floor, which means we are heading to a commercial, of course. Austin Theory and Grayson Waller back from the break in trouble as Orton is hung across from the top rope. Orton hits a middle rope DDT to Grayson Waller. Then there's a pop-up powerbomb RKO, a debut of it, and Orton and Owens win. They look on to Waller and Theory, who leave the ring. After the match, Paul and Orton NKO. He then grabbed Brass Knuckles and went to hit Orton, but Randy grabbed the Knucks, and he almost hit KO by accident when Logan ducked his punch. Looks like they might be preparing a triple threat when I see a spot like that between Orton and Owens. It looks like there might be a triple threat here. Owens and Orton might be tweeners a little bit because they might be going against each other with Logan Paul, maybe in a triple threat for WrestleMania. You got to understand WrestleMania, it tries to make as much multi-man matches as it can because they got to fit everyone on the card. Everyone wants their WrestleMania moment and their payday. So everybody, even though it's a two-night thing and they can put 16 combined matches in those 2 nights, or even more than that, and it still needs multi-man matches because of how big the roster is. It's incredible. So I could see this being a triple threat at WrestleMania, if not a fatal 4-way. Maybe they include Theory or Waller. I can't see it being a 5-pack challenge with both Theory and Waller. But yeah, maybe a triple threat is what I'm thinking right now. Gave that opening tag 2 stars and a quarter. They show the relevant happenings with Bayley and Dakota Kai turning on her last week. Bayley tells Kayla she's hanging by a thread. She does this personal segment. She keeps questioning whether the friendship was real or not, whether she was using me. She is pissed as she fell for it. Bayley says Damage Control made their biggest mistake turning on her, and she's adaptable, and that's why she's made it so long in the high position she's in, because she's adaptable. And she said she was at her most vulnerable and she was manipulated by her, so she really feels like a sucker. Naomi was watching this and couldn't help but feel bad for Bayley, and Bianca says, "Hey girl, what you feeling bad for her for?" And just, not that way, but in a sassy tone, just said that you don't even go here. No, she said, you don't even understand how it was here when you've been on the sidelines or wherever Naomi was. When she was gone, she was talking about how Bayley was running Damage Control, so she shouldn't have so much sympathy for somebody like that, is pretty much Bianca Belair's point. We then go to the almighty Bobby Lashley taking on Karrion Kross with Scarlett. Scarlett, the sinister mind behind Kross from Final Testament, taking on the Street Profits leader, the almighty Bobby Lashley. 2 modern-day gladiators, say his Graves. Bobby Lashley with a suplex and a clothesline to the floor, and Bobby Lashley tosses him into the barricade. A lot of barricade ring post spots in this match, which really takes away from how special the moment is when there's shots outside the ring. You don't want to overdo that because you devalue the spots when you want to have them in a bigger match or a PLE match. You want to have those outside ring spots end the match if somebody gets run into the ring post, or you want to save those spots as taboo. So in an Extreme Rules match, when they happen, they're like, wow, that's really cool. But when you see it in a standard TV match like this, it takes away its value. That's just my opinion. It cheapens it. Back into the match, Kross utilizes his grappling techniques with transitions into his offensive arsenal, smothering Lashley until he buys himself some time, and Lashley runs into Kross with a clothesline. Then he charges into the ring post. See again. Lashley inside the ring wanted to spear him and then looked for the hurt lock, but only had a Health Nelson on, as Kross was too strong and then lifted Lashley. Then he hit a modified Death Valley driver by Kross. Lashley then interfered with the AOP. It was interfered with as the AOP came in and interfered 8 minutes into the match, so Lashley wins by DQ at 8 minutes and gave it 2 stars. The Street Profits came in, and all 6 men go at it, so there could be another potential multi-man match for WrestleMania. I gave the match 2 stars. Dawkins and Ford leap onto the AOP face first into the mat. Lashley went for a hurt lock, but Scarlett interrupted things. Lashley applies the hurt lock until the AOP once again jump him. The final prayer is a modified F5, and Kross hit that to Lashley on the canvas floor. Looks like a 6-man tag at WrestleMania. Speaking of 6-man tags, Legado del Fantasma and the LWO history is being shown as we're halfway through the SmackDown now. Dragon Lee is thrown to the ground by Angel Garza and Santos Escobar as his lady, sort of a cringe backstage segment happens where Escobar's lady says, "What, you think you're going to be the new Rey Mysterio?" to Dragon Lee. Why are they building up the same guy they're trying to tear down? They're trying to make it sound like Rey Mysterio is this legend, yet they're against Rey Mysterio and they're belittling Mysterio, so what didn't really make sense. They then show the Hall of Fame class of 2024, Mike Rotunda, Barry Windham joining Bull Nakano, Paul Heyman to enter the Hall of Fame. That's great. That's also the dad and uncle of Bray Wyatt, if nobody knows. IRS is Mike Rotunda also. Barry Windham was also the stalker and also Blackjack Windham, and he had his bunch of runs. But he was known mostly as Barry Windham, Horseman, against the Horsemen in the late 80s, NWA. His matches with Ric Flair were some of the best matches. Two or three matches with Ric Flair in my top 50 matches of all time ever. On the list I have. Two for sure. Battle of the Belts, 86, I believe. And then I think there was another one in 88 or 87. God, I'd have to look. Anyway, Barry Windham's much deserving of the Hall of Fame, so it's glad to see him in there. So is Bull Nakano, so is Mike Rotunda, and so is Paul E. Heyman. Tiffany Stratton takes on Michin. We'll find out if it's once again Tiffy time. Stratton's got it all, and she shows off her athletics and gymnastic skills with a side suplex and then a vertical suplex by Michin, and she goes for a Styles Clash as part of the OC is Michin. A spine buster by Stratton, and then the prettiest moonsault ever as she jumps from the middle rope to the top rope from the bottom rope, all with amazing agility into a moonsault. Eat your heart out, Charlotte Flair. The lady has it all. She is an incredible gymnast and wrestler. Gave it a star and 3/4, but only because it was a short match, not because of a lack of quality. It was actually high in quality. It would only have gotten a star or less if it was less in quality. But because it was quality, I rated it a little higher, even though it was such a short match. Then AJ Styles cuts a good previously recorded promo running down LA Knight, talking about how he's overachieved and he's under-talented. I like this because it really showed a dark style of AJ Styles' character, and at the same time put over the reason they went to Australia halfway across the world to attack LA Knight. It really, really explains AJ's character for turning on LA Knight and for going down all the way to Australia just to attack him and prevent him from winning the Elimination Chamber. And it puts forth the rivalry for a sure-to-be Mania match between the two. Laughing, watching on is LA Knight from the other side, and he's watching AJ Styles' promo as if it didn't faze him, but it really ramped him up. He got the energy level at a high. And LA Knight then says, phenomenal one, more like boring one. Knight then destroys a flat screen TV. I could see if he was watching on one of those old school TV monitors, but this was a flat screen TV. No reason to hit, probably a smart TV too. No reason to hit that. Not with that kind of intensity and not with that kind of damage. But anyway, no, I'm just kidding, obviously. It doesn't matter what they damage. But LA Knight and AJ Styles, for such a short segment, AJ Styles' good 2-minute promo followed by LA Knight's 45-second reaction. For just those 2 or 3 minutes, they really got over their feud, another chapter in their feud. That was great TV there. That was a good promo by both guys. It would have been good to see LA Knight live in front of the crowd, but he still did a good job backstage. Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne in a short comedy segment too. Tyler Bate's playing 2K24, which came out today. They challenged the Judgment Day in the game for the titles as Pete Dunne looks on like, what are you doing? Bate gives him the controller as he goes off and says, maybe I'm going to talk to Nick Aldis about a real mid-take title match. And then he shrugs, does Pete Dunne, and he goes on to play the game. And he's like, yeah, this is actually pretty cool. That was pretty funny. Next up, we got our main event of the night, or in the ring anyway. Angel Garza of Legado Fantasma against Dragon Lee. Angel Garza with a drop kick by Dragon Lee, Escobar and Fantasma at ringside. Lee hasn't connected with the casuals as they're trying to get him over in the Rey Mysterio way, but Rey Mysterio got over in his time because it was, the mid-late 90s, perfect time. And they tried to get over Dragon Lee in the same way by not having him not talk, but get his in-ring stuff to push him. But like I said before, it can only push him so far with just in-ring stuff. So they really got to try harder for Dragon Lee, I guess. Lee hasn't connected with the casuals in the way, but he's out there as a face. He's kind of like Ultimo Dragon in the sorts, but as a face without Sonny Ono. A somersault plancha and then a Hurricane Rana by Dragon Lee to get him the victory. After the match, Legado del Fantasma powerbombed him into the canvas floor. He gave the match 2 stars. Damage Control cuts a promo and says they'll see Bayley in the ring next week, does Dakota Kai. And then all the Kabuki Warriors and Io Sky translate their promo to Bayley as well. They all cut promos in their own native language, and they translated it. So Io Sky says it's always Io time, not Bayley. So next week, Dakota Kai will face Bayley, and next week, Rey Mysterio will return. That does it for the match portion of the show. To close the show, they have a big promo why everyone's here. That's why Dallas, Texas is sold out. The closing promo, the head of the table, Roman, Heyman, Jimmy, and Solo come out. For whatever reason, The Rock doesn't come out with the Bloodline. And then we see right why, because he gets his own little mini entrance as the Bloodline are just into the ring, and then The Rock's music hits. And he's got this new version of his entrance with electricity running down, still showing the goosebumps, even though he's a heel. And then he slaps those two arms. Roman says, Dallas, Texas, greatness is in front of you. And it took him a while to get that out of his, as he paused, as the crowd was all standing up and they're all taking their pictures and videos, and they're all watching this as this is the moment they came to see. Everybody's standing up, and then he says, acknowledge us. And the crowd reacts as they do. As they do that, and they give he went to go shake The Rock's hand. The Rock shook Roman Reigns' hand, and then just then, as he was about to do more, COdy's song hits, and COdy and Seth are both making their entrances from the crowd, NWO style, or should I say Shield style. I guess that would be more appropriate considering it's a Seth and Roman segment. We get what we figure is our last commercial segment for the night. As we come back, they're all in the ring. COdy and Seth are then face-to-face with Rock and Roman. We don't hear Seth's song, but we still have to hear it from the crowd. Seth must feel pretty special right at this moment. You got a big Rock segment, and you got Seth Rollins in the ring, and there's 4 guys, and the crowd could be doing anything. And what are they doing? They're humming Seth Rollins' song. So they're going to give that egomaniac some more reason to think he's the top dog. COdy says, I know it's a bit tense, but I feel this is special. The 4 of us should really feel this moment here in the sold-out Dallas, Texas. COdy says, Rock, I have heard your challenge and your stipulations, but I gotta ask, do you even have the authority to make that stipulation? Because you made Roman Reigns your tribal chief last week, and you acknowledged him. COdy says, you want our answer? And The Rock says, you shut your mouth. And the crowd pops, just because The Rock is talking for the first time. He says, you and your walking cloud show, shut your mouths before it even starts. That was great. Let The Rock drop some gospel on your candy asses. Rock acknowledged both of them. He acknowledged Roman because that is family. That's what family do. Then the immature bunch of the crowd chanted, diarrhea, as Seth laughs his ass off. Yep, there are idiots in the crowd. I guess there are. Anyways, Rock says he will do everything in his power to make sure that COdy Rhodes and Seth Rollins don't go over. Seth then says, will you shut the hell up? And Seth, it is, in his trying to be tough voice, will you shut the hell up, Rock? For once, and then he calls a midlife crisis, which is okay. Roman says, you must be stupid, and you must be from Texas. That's what he said to COdy right after Seth really let Rock have it. He called it midlife crisis. He said, your time is over. It's our time. And then that's when COdy Rhodes said, look, I'm here to finish my story. And Roman interrupted and said, you must be from Texas. You must be stupid. And that's when he said that after COdy Rhodes interrupted. And The Rock says, let me clarify this to you. The Rock is your boss. The Rock is a part of the board. The Rock says you don't finish this and you will never, ever get another chance to finish your story. Rock said, isn't it true that you were the youngest of 3 siblings? Your sister was a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. And your brother is a future Hall of Famer. And you're 20 years younger than your brother. Isn't that true? And that's because The Rock says you were a mistake. And the crowd, oh. COdy then, and we get the sign-off logo for SmackDown. And then COdy Rhodes slaps The Rock. So we get it. He Will Smiths him back from that press conference. And that takes us to the copyright of the screen. And we're left wanting more. Exactly what something should do to end the show. It's too bad the segment went on with half hour to go and not longer. The entrances took up most of the time, as did commercials. I would rate this show a 6 out of 10 only because that's 1/4 of the show right there, that Rock promo. Everybody of the four got to say something. It was slightly better than average, the show, due to the fourth quarter being extra entertaining Rock segment with the Bloodline. It always helps if that's 1/4 your show. Wrestling at 2 hours is so much better than 3 hours. A torturous 3 hours of Monday Night Raw, usually. And 10 minutes of The Rock talking is better than 3 hours of Monday Night Raw. Even 2 minutes of The Rock talking, unfortunately, is better than 3 hours of Monday Night Raw. That's just the truth. That's the sad truth. And we saw more Mania progression tonight, but it will only be remembered for what Seth, COdy, Rock, and Roman all said. Each of the four guys got their chance to speak tonight, and I really thought they did a decent job for what they had. They didn't have a terrible amount of time to talk, but for what they did, they all said their parts, and they did it well. Cody Rhodes got his part that he needs to do this, and this is a special night, and Seth did it in a way where he's being overly aggressive and saying it's not The Rock's time anymore, and he's here to back up Cody. The Rock got his message in that he still thinks that both guys are candy asses, and the fact that The Rock he's leader of the board, and he's going to make sure Cody never gets a chance again. And Roman is just laughing at it, thinking he must be stupid because he'll never get a chance to face the Universal Champion, because once he's finished, he's done. He's never getting another chance. That's what Roman Reigns says to the Cody. So each of the four got their shots off, I should say, in this segment, even though the segment didn't go overly long. It felt long because it might have been time-wise long, but not the speaking part. The crowd chanting, the commercials, the entrances, all the mannerisms take time. All the poses, it all takes time away from the clock, and it just eats the clock. But you know what? You're waiting in anticipation. You're electrified because The Rock is there. You're glued to the TV because it's cool to see wrestling with The Rock on it. So it just leaves a I want to see what happens next feeling. And we used to get those in the Attitude Era every show. We used to get those in the Attitude Era every single time Raw. We used to hate when the credits rolled on the screen when it said copyright 1999 or copyright 1998, when the Raw logo would show up at the end. We'd be like, no, that's it. I want to see what happens next. That was the feeling we all had every single Raw. And now we're getting that when SmackDown ends. I get the same feeling. Oh, I want to see more. That is when you know they're doing something right. So I can't give it less than a 6 out of 10 because the matches were pretty decent. And at the same time, the Rock segment, again, made you feel that way. It made you feel that I want to see more of this. So I'm not one of the big supporters of this tag match. I'm glad they added the stipulations they did, but I'm not a big supporter of the tag match. Not a big Seth Rollins guy. I'm not a big Drew McIntyre guy either. I'm more of a Cody guy. I'm more of a Roman guy. More of a Punk guy. But at the same time, if The Rock has maneuvered himself quite well for giving the fans what they wanted, I guess. And they could always do Rock versus Roman next year. So you got to respect what The Rock's done as well. So this episode of SmackDown, decent, just a bit better than decent. So that's why I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. Let me know what you think in the comments of tonight's SmackDown. Do you agree that you have that feeling with the SmackDown credits show up that you want to see more of this? Is there that feeling like the cliffhanger where you want to see more and you're mad the show's over? Because if that's the case, then you're like me and you're getting that feeling that you used to feel back when wrestling was cool anyway. So that's this week's SmackDown. That's my review for the March 8th, 2024 episode from Dallas, Texas. I'm Brett Mix for Mixer Madness. I go over the Monday Night Wars and everything on this channel, so hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'm out, guys. That's it for the SmackDown review. We'll see you guys next video. Have a good night, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Brett Mix signing off. I'm out.